Hey everyone, Nick from Nick's Crossing here. Welcome back to the train room for an awesome tutorial video. In this video, we'll be building our very own Hobo Boxcar with Bluetooth sounds. So here we go everyone, all aboard. Alright guys, so I've gotten lots of questions on this car. How did you do it? Where did you get the parts from? And can we build our own? Yes, yes, and yes, I will tell you guys all that information in just a second. Because last week I just built this awesome car right here. And this has been getting a lot of attention at the Rarer Club and also on the YouTube circle. So this car is equipped with a Bluetooth speaker and also a charging circuit. So you can play music all night long while you run your trains through your speaker. Or if you want to have some like just ambient music going on your rails, you can do that as well. So I got this idea after seeing that beautiful Lionel Hobo Boxcar floating around at the Rarer Club, also online. And I thought about it. It's like, you know what? I'll just build my own car, add a Bluetooth speaker. I can add whatever sounds I want. And eventually I do plan on using a digital audio workstation and build my own playlist of like some voiceover stuff and things like that and run it using my phone. So this car is Bluetooth equipped now. So this guy right here has a Bluetooth speaker. So you can basically link to this using your phone, tablet, computer, any device that emits a Bluetooth signal. You can broadcast right to it and play whatever songs you'd like. So that is the difference between this car and the Lionel car. Lionel's car plays their program sound set through a circuit card, through a soundboard, all of that in the car. This car that we'll be building today is strictly customizable. You put whatever sounds you want going through. You just need a Bluetooth device to play to that car. So guys, before we get into it, let's get into what you'll need and the steps on building this awesome car. Alright guys, so before we start our project, I'd like to go over everything that you'll need to complete the project. So first, you need a boxcar or a caboose, and this is the car that we're using, this beautiful Abraham Lincoln CB&Q friendship train car, just like the Americana. Originally I thought it was a State of Maine car, but it's a CB&Q, but it's just a beautiful car. It's a Premier, so we got lots of space in there to put our circuit cards and all of that. So it's a great looking car. Now the next piece we'll need are actually these right here. These are Caboose trucks from Atlas. These are model number 66035 friction bearing Caboose trucks. Now the reason why we need Caboose trucks is that we need to be able to pick up power from the center rail and then also return it through the wheels. So your cars do not have the pickup rollers in the center. These are just standard freight trucks from MTH. Still amazing trucks, but for this project we need to pick up electricity using the center rail. Next, you need a Bluetooth speaker. Bought this at Five Below for $7. I know it sounds kind of weird, Five Below, but $7. And this is a neat wireless speaker. And these kind of sound bad, but it works. It's good enough for our project here. Next, you'll need a rectifier circuit. And that is this right here, purchased on Amazon. This takes in up to 30 volts AC, output 30 volts DC. But there's a little tiny potentiometer right there, that little brass dot right there. So you can dial this thing down to 5 volts DC to charge our Bluetooth speaker while it's inside the car on the track. So do not have to worry about plugging in any wires to the Bluetooth speaker. While it's rolling down the track, it should be charging up your speaker. Now, if you don't want to use the rectifier circuit, you could actually keep your USB cable plugged into your car, and when you're not using it, just plug it into a USB outlet. But honestly, I just thought this was so much easier just having the car charge while it's on the track. And these boards are extremely inexpensive. I think it's like 4 for $12 or something like that. But everything that I use will be posted in the description of this video, all the links and such, so you guys can find these parts on your own. Now, last but not least, you can use any figurines that you want, but for this car, we're going to use these Woodland Scenics Bluegrass Band figurines. These guys are so cool. This is actually called the Jug Band. These are very expensive for what they are. The Artista figurines on the other car, they were like $6 a piece, but this whole set right here was almost $30. So figurines are very expensive, and I honestly don't have room for all of them in the car. We'll see how it goes, but it's going to be pretty crowded in that car. Now, some other scenery stuff that I'll be using is like static grass, Elmer's glue, and then you'll need a soldering iron, a hot glue gun, and some 22 gauge wire to wire this all up and things like that. So guys, let's open up this car. Let's get started with this awesome tutorial. All right guys, so I got the boxcar all taken apart here. So our old trucks are sitting over here. We're not going to use those in this project, but we are using these new Atlas trucks. Now these pose a couple of problems. Right now the height is kind of off for the truck. So right now we're hitting the frame. So we need to use some washers I found to basically space those away from the frame so they don't scrape and all that fun stuff. Then we're also going to have to drill a hole through the frame here. So this frame is reinforced with this metal. It's almost like it's just extra weight, but it adds a reinforcement beam to the car. So the car is less flexible, and it's actually a really nicely weighted car said and done. But we need to drill a hole through the frame, going through the bottom, so we can have our wires run through the frame into the shell. So we're going to do that really quick. I'll grab the Dremel, just drill a small hole in here, and then small hole back here. Then we'll get our trucks all lined up, and then we should be ready to build this car from the ground up. Alright guys, we had to cut those nasty holes through this frame. I could not drill through them. This thing is like hardened steel. It's pretty nuts, but this fits in there just like that. And what I can do now is actually re-drill the holes through the plastic frame, through the bottom right here. We're going to drill a larger hole, and we definitely will have enough material to get through now. So this will all be hidden. You won't see all this, you know, nasty metal work. I did grind down the burrs on here, so it's not as sharp, so it shouldn't mess up our wire too much. So I'm going to cut those holes, and we'll be right back. We're going to put the trucks on, run the wires through, and we'll start building this awesome car. Alright guys, so here is the frame with those horrible looking holes in there. I do apologize for that, but we now have the two holes drilled through the plastic, through the bottom. Those look nice and clean. So what we're going to do is actually run our wires for our trucks through first. The shorter wire on both trucks, let's see if they did the same thing over here. Yes, so the shorter wire of the two is the power lead, so that's our center roller right here. So you have to make sure to keep that in mind when we wire this thing up. So let's just lace our wires through. There's one, and now we're going to have to install the trucks using their system. So that is using this plastic, whoop, just dropped it, this plastic piece right here. It's like an insert. Then we add our washer underneath, and then quickly sandwich this together. I'm not a huge fan of this system. This is the first time using Atlas trucks, but they are really nice looking trucks, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But it is a little complex. Then we put our screw down in there, and hopefully this works here. So let's tighten this down, and we might have to use another screwdriver on the other side to hold. It has like a flathead top to it, so let me grab a flathead screwdriver. Nope, we have to use both. So this is kind of interesting how they did this here, but it should all hold together. Alright. Cool. With the spacer in there, this rolls really nice. Actually quite pleased with that. So in the meantime, I'm going to run the other wires through, get the other truck assembled, and then we'll start with the electronics. Alright guys, our frame is all set up. Got the wires running through. These trucks are really nice. They have tons of clearance, rolls really smooth. Can't wait to get this on the rails to test it. Now next, it's actually destroy this Bluetooth speaker. And I don't really feel bad about that. These don't really sound too hot, so listen to this. So there's your connect, and once it finds my phone, yeah, there's your sound right there. So it's not like the best Premiere sounds ever, so I really don't feel bad about destroying this thing. So the other speaker that I bought actually had the holes in the bottom. There's got to be one around here somewhere. There's another one right there. This actually comes apart pretty easily. I was actually surprised. And a lot of these say like non-serviceable parts inside. Yeah, right. Let's try the 3. There we go. Okay, so this is actually very important at the bottom. That is our, let me take the socket out here. That goes to either the speaker or the light. And then this blue wire here goes to either the light or the speaker. Now at the bottom here, that is our Bluetooth circuit card. That's it, and there's a battery. So this pulls out with the red wire. We get that out while we can without destroying the circuit board. We might actually have to take the card out to get to everything. So we'll be right back, guys. I'm going to destroy this thing, and we're going to place this inside of our boxcar. Alright guys, this is the circuit right here. This is it. That's your driver. Here's your battery. Then one of these leads goes to like a fancy light. I think it's this one. And it actually pulled out the socket with that. So we don't need that. It's like a disco light that's on top. The circuit board actually blinks blue when it's trying to connect to your device. So that's one way to tell when it's on. You also hear the chime. We have to open up the sound box right here. And then we should be able to get to the speaker. Now the speaker is not like the best speaker in the world either without the shrouding, but we do need the shrouding to produce like a thicker sound, if that makes sense. It acts as a sound box. So without this shrouding, the sounds sound even worse. So I found that out with the other speaker that I made. I had to actually play around with the speaker positioning to make sure we can actually get like a decent sound. So just keep that in mind when you're building one of these. Don't throw out the shrouding. You'll probably need at least half of it, of this like cocoon around the speaker. So once I take this one out, this should crack open. There it goes. And good. Okay, so that went to the light. So right here is like this little LED. It's like a junk blinking LED at the bottom of this. So we don't need any of this stuff here. What we do need is this piece right here. And there's our speaker wire. So this is actually a larger boxcar than the other car that I built. And we can actually reuse a lot of this frame right here inside of our car. So we can sit this in the corner like that. Break this little tab off at the bottom really quick. There we go. And we can probably sit this, well, we might have to take some off. But for the majority of this cocoon or shrouding, we're going to keep most of it. Probably have to cut off using the Dremel tool, just maybe like from here down and around so it can actually fit inside the car. But let's see if that actually fits really well in the shell. So look at that right there. So what I'll do off camera is actually play music that I cannot play on YouTube to try to get the speaker mounted in there. But I think it's going to sound really good if I just mount the entire shell like right there. We'll have to see. So guys, I'll be right back. I'll let you know how it goes. Alright guys, I got the YouTube music going here, and we now have sound. So technically at this step, if you did not want to go further with installing the recharging circuit, you could stop here and just run your USB cord out. So you got this nice long USB cord in this kit. But I'll show you what I did on the inside of here. This is the circuit card and everything as of right now. So this is a little bit different setup than the Norfolk Western car because I actually put the board on the roof, and to turn on and off the board, you just stuck your finger through the door and flip the switch off. Now because I'm adding more figurines in this car, I wanted it completely away from the roof. So what you have to do now is stick your finger up to the top and actually just flip the switch right here, flip it down. So there you go. This battery is back here on the wall. The speaker is in the corner here. A little bit larger boxcar, got a little bit more room. I did not have to cut this down with the Dremel, unlike the N&W car. That was a whole headache and a mess. This fits in really nicely. The driver is actually hot glued to the speaker cavity, so everything is in. So the next thing we have to do is install our rectifier circuit. Now this is a little bit of an extra step. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to set it up before we get into it. I have to hook up my, basically my tester transformer to the AC side, hook up a voltmeter to dial in 5 volts. Then what we're going to do is cut our USB cable down for the 2 wires to then go to the charging circuit of this. So let's get into that. I'll set it all up to show you guys what we're doing. Alright guys, so the next step is to set this potentiometer on this voltage circuit. So I've got a Lionel test transformer off camera. It's an accessory transformer. We're going to crank this up to 18 volts. We'll actually go all the way up, maxing this out. So it's probably about 20 volts. We have our voltmeter set to VDC to 200, so we can get the decimal point over. And let's just see what the max output on this is. Let's just crank this all the way up. And then we'll stick our voltmeter on. So there's a little tiny potentiometer that we're cranking right now. Let's just stop right there. And let's plug up our leads and see what we get. Okay, so right is to turn the voltage down. We're at 3.2 volts. So let me double check that. Yep, 3.2 volts, just making sure. 3.22. So what we're going to actually do is dial in our voltage for 5 volts. So we're going to turn this left. Let's just keep on turning until we think it's okay. All right, let's try that. 3.41. So you can really dial in this little circuit. Let's really crank on it then. Just really cool. You have this much control over a circuit card. These are going to be great for adding LEDs to accessories or cars or buildings. So I'm really excited for these circuit cards. All right, let's see what we get. 4.83. Oh, come on. We just need a steady 5 here. All right, let's try that. All right, 5.21. So just a little bit to the right. 5.16, a little bit more. And the reason why I'm cranking this to 5 is because your typical USB output voltage is 5 volts DC, which is what we need to charge our circuit. 5.07. You're killing me. Come on. It's a little bit. A little bit. Let's see. 5, right on the dot, right there. Okay. So now we have a 5 volt output on our rectifier circuit. So that means, guys, if I'm applying track voltage at approximately 20 volts, 18 to 20 volts, we are going to get an output voltage on this side of the circuit at 5 volts DC. So what I'm going to do now is turn the power off, and I'm going to actually install this circuit. Be careful, there are capacitors on here. They are charged up, so you might get a little bit of a shock if you mess with this. But we are going to now group our wires on our frame for the middle roller, and then our outer wheels, group them up, plug them up to our circuit. Then we're going to take the output voltage of this to our USB cable here. We're going to splice this up and plug it into our circuit card. Then we're pretty much good to go and start with the scenery. Alright guys, so all of our wiring has been completed. So it looks complicated, but it's very simple. So over here, we have our red and blue leads going under the frame. So the red is the center wheel that picks up the center rail. The blue is going to our ground, which is picked up through the basically the wheels. Then those go underneath this metal frame all the way to the back, where it's grouped up again. And those grouped wires go into the hot side, or the AC side of the rectifier board right here. Now these other 2 wires are going to LEDs. They're just grouped up in the AC section. Everything's shrinked over so we don't have any shorts or anything like that. Then the DC outside, we spliced and cut our USB wire. There's only 2 wires in there, red being the positive, black being negative. Plug those into our rectifier circuit. This will get mounted upside down inside the boxcar. So that's what we're going to do next. Then we're going to find a way to conceal this USB cord and plug it in. So let's get this all mounted up. This can be thrown away. We don't need that. So let's do this. So we're going to have to flip this upside down like that. Find a way how to mount this inside of our car. If not, I can just mount it in the side just like that. Just enough rooms for the wires to flex if we have to get in here at all. So move this down. Actually move this out of the way in here. Alright, so we could actually mount our wires just like that. I'm trying to turn it so we can get this USB wire up into the roof. Like this wire we're going to conceal up into the roof to plug in over here. So that should be good right there. It actually looks really nice. So we're going to glue the board into the wall of the boxcar. Alright, there's a lot of glue on there. Get this up into the wall. Alright, that's pressed in there. Let that dry for a second. And then we're going to have to conceal this USB wire. I did cut this kind of long on purpose, just in case, but we're going to have to conceal it. And then this has to snake around anyways and plug back in. So maybe we have just enough in here. So this has to plug into this right here. It's going to be pretty tight getting that in there. All right, guys, so we are finally done all the wiring. Wow, it has been crazy. I actually really messed up this car. So let's test it out. I'll show you guys what's going on. So we're going to connect our red wire to the center roller there. And then our black lead's just going to go on the wheel. Clamp that on the wheel real quick. So we're going to give it some power. So you can see we have lights on the inside. And then if I turn this light out, you can see that the circuit is charging. There's like a little red, I have to actually block out the LEDs, but there is a red light shining on the board right there. So we are charging up. So that's excellent news. And we crank the voltage. You can see the LEDs are not constant voltage, but the board should be applying constant voltage to the charging circuit. Now, a couple of things really quick that I messed up on. I mounted that board on the speaker up front over here. I went to put the shell back on and the board would not compress in and everything, and then I could not get the USB cable plugged in to the board. So I actually had to reinstall the USB cable and then resolder it. That's what this mess is down here. But everything is working. Everything is nice and tight. So the next thing we're going to do is actually add some scenery in here. I know it's kind of tight to do anything, but we're going to try to cover up this wire as best we can with Scenic grass. So the way I do that, a lot of you guys were asking me about this. Basically, it's going to take some Elmer's glue, and we're going to spread this around on this metal over here. And we can get all around this cable. We're going to try to cover up this cable with people, which is not ideal. It's kind of like a cheap way out. I feel really bad doing that. But the other car did not have the cable issue. So it's probably just user error from me, for sure. But we'll put glue down here. Glue all around. And I'm going to use a brush to spread around the glue. Let's see. Should have a hobby brush in here. All right. We're going to spread this glue around. And we get all the edge of the plastic. That's fine. And we want to get a nice layer of glue for the static grass. All right. So that's enough glue right there. Let's clean this out. And the static grass is actually from Woodland Scenic. It's just this color right here. Just want like a nice hay color. If I can open up this bag here. There we go. And this can get kind of messy, but you just kind of take a little bit at a time and just sprinkle it on. Don't have to go too crazy. And just layer it. And I just want to look at like cocoa fiber, I guess, or the that's what they used to use for packing, I believe, back in the day. It was like cocoa fiber and hay material for packing in cars and things like that. But we're going to try to cover up this cable best we can. Alright, get some up here. And the door on this car is a little bit smaller, so that'll also kind of help us conceal what we did on the inside of this car. We're just going to press this down, just like that. So it's not too bad. It is hidden. And once you put the shell on top, and we get the lighting right, you shouldn't see any of this cable in here. And then we can actually put people in front of that on either side, so it's totally concealed. Now we do want our on-off switch accessible, so we can just flip that on and off like that. and we have enough space through the door to access that as well. So that's enough grass on this side. That side's looking all right. We're going to let this dry up, and then we're going to come back and install our figurines. Once the shell is put over top, we'll be able to position everything correctly. I'm also going to paint the LEDs. I'll show you guys that. What I usually do is hook up the power leads, and there's one, here's two, and we have our lights on. So I'm going to pick out my yellow paint. I'm using testers. There's a special one I mixed up. It's like a yellowish red, and I usually just take a Q-tip or like a little piece of like pipe cleaner just to paint those. I don't usually use a brush. Let's see if I can use one of my painter. Let's see if I have any left. Yep. I usually use these Q-tips right here. These are really nice for painting small details, but I just usually mix in a little bit and then just spin it. And then what we're going to do is turn off the light on the desk. And we have a white light right now, but we're just going to paint the LEDs to a nice amber color. Sometimes you have to add a little bit of a glob over top. We want that old-timey like lantern color. There we go. So you can see we got that nice yellow amber color. Add some more to this one down here. And like I said, sometimes you have to glob it on to get the right color. Oops. There we go. That's the color I want right there. A nice warm yellow color. I mixed, this is like a special mix. I mixed about, I guess, 10% red and 90% yellow. Just mix it up in one of these little vials. And like I said, I use these Q-tip, extended Q-tips to paint them on. And you get that nice orangish color. It's going to look really cool with the band in there. So, be right back, guys. We're going to install our figurines and get this car rolling. Alright guys, all the figurines have been installed, and check this out. This car came out to be awesome. Look at the lighting in there. I know it's kind of messing with the camera because they're LEDs. But there's our lead guitarist right up on the crate there. And then if we go to the other side, I'll flip the car around just a second. We have the other musicians in the band. Let's make sure we don't short out our car. And I don't want to play music through because I know YouTube's going to flag it. They're getting more serious, even with their own music and everything. But check out those guys there. I mean, you got the washboard player, a fiddle, and then the banjo. So the whole band's here. I wish we had room for a bass or something like that, but unfortunately I didn't have enough room to get in, because the other side I need to access with a finger to turn on and off the board, which is right in that back corner. Like I said, it's messing with the camera a little bit because the LEDs, but I love the way this car turned out, especially those lights. That just looks so awesome. Really quick, here's the other Hobo Boxcar with the power on. This one's a little bit more mellow. This one's more chill. And you just have the flicker lights going on in there. Then you have a guy sleeping there, and then the other two guys, turn this car around. I actually like these figurines a little bit more too, but they're just two different, very different cars. You have the guy drinking and the guy playing the guitar, and there's only a single LED, and then you can see the flashing LED for the fire. So I didn't put the fire one in the other one, but this one's more of like actual hobos. These guys are like playing a concert going through town. I mean, that is just so cool. I might redo the lights in this one, but I think I might just leave it. So it's the first one. This is the second one done. But I just love the way this came out. It just looks so cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And man, these are so much fun to build. Alright everyone, that's going to conclude this video building my own custom Hobo Boxcar with Bluetooth speaker. These are so much fun. I plan on making more of these, and some of my friends reaching out to me if I can make them for them as well. So we'll see how it goes. These are really fun. I gotta wait for the glue to dry on that before I really run it around the layout, but it is looking awesome. I love the way the lights came out with the hay and stuff in there, and just the guys rocking out, or playing their bluegrass music. So just a really cool car, and I love the Americana. It's just a really fun car. Anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel, enjoyed this tutorial video, always consider subscribing. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Love reading the comments. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out through email. Anyways, guys, until next time, happy railroading. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. See you guys.